Please remember that this is meant to be a snapshot of topics that affect entrepreneurs, but you should always consult an attorney to customize this type of protection to your specific grind.
Welcome to another episode of
Entrepreneur Bond and Grind.
My name is Reba J.
And I am Christine Rose.
And we are here to spread knowledge that can protect the legal and business interests of the
modern entrepreneur who's on their grind.
Today we'll be focusing on NDAs, so grab a cup of tea
or a shot of whiskey
and let's get to it.
But remember, we are your friends in your head, not your attorney.
So we are here to talk about non-disclosure agreements, also known as NDAs or confidentiality agreements. You know when you have that great idea and you just want to share it with the world because you were that trusting?
Don't.
At least not until you have a signed NDA.
Let us tell you why. So, what is an NDA? It protects any confidential information, ideas, or concepts that are shared during the term of that agreement between the two parties. Essentially, this allows both parties to freely discuss the inner workings of their company, the finances, the idea, etc., without fear of that information leaking or being used somewhere else without their approval. This agreement allows the owner of that confidential information the opportunity to recover not only monetary remedies, money y'all, but also injunctive relief, which is the ability to stop someone from using that information in the event the other party uses confidential information in a manner that was not approved.
So there are two different types of NDAs. One is a one-sided NDA that only protects the confidential information of one party in that agreement. And the most common, the mutual NDA, which provides the same protection of confidential information shared from either party. I always suggest a mutual NDA because both parties will be on the same playing field.
Right, so you never know. It may be a one-sided, you leak some confidential information, and the other party's protected, but you aren't. And that's not where you want to be at all. Okay, so what is in an NDA? All right, so we need definitions of what is considered confidential.
You need exceptions to what is defined as confidential.
You need a time frame. How long is this going to last?
You need to know how this confidential information will be used.
Okay, how the confidential information will be disposed of or returned to the owner. That is so important.
Yes. Then also the remedies for any breach of this agreement. Like we mentioned, this is why you want this agreement. So if this was to happen, you have a remedy to either receive money or to stop them from using it.
Yes, and then ownership information. I always say be very careful. Make sure that you kind of label everything to either a particular person or a particular company so they know this is our property. It's not something that you made up and you're trying to argue with me. Nah, I got the receipts.
Exactly. And you also don't want anything to say, you don't want them to say that you developed something together in the midst of that discussion. So make sure everything is labeled and everything is separate.
Right.
So why do you need this? This protects your genius from being used, sold, or stolen without recourse. Protects very candid conversations about the current state of your company or ideas where soliciting assistance, partners, or investors, because you know we need that money, y'all.
Listen, everybody ain't able until you are. Okay, so who should sign it? Everyone who will have access to your confidential information. I need a signature from every single one. If you wouldn't share that information on social media for the world to see, then you need to think about having all the parties sign an NDA before disclosing sensitive information.
That is so true. And sometimes people, please think about what you're posting on social media.
Yes.
Because a lot of times people are posting things that they really shouldn't be. So even if you have an NDA, if you end up posting it on social media, you no longer have that protection. That's a part of those exceptions that I mentioned earlier. So when should you present it? When you discuss with someone the potential of working together on a generic description of your project and they agree that is what they want to do, have them sign that NDA before you start sharing any more details. If someone is hesitant to sign an NDA, you can provide them with a mutual NDA, which I mentioned before, because it protects both parties. So again, both parties are on the same playing field. So then during the course of discussions, you could determine whether or not you want to officially work together, and that's when you will actually negotiate an official agreement such as an MSA, PSA, partnership agreement. Again, we'll talk about this in future episodes, so definitely stay tuned.
Right. So, you know, we're young millennials. We like our pop culture. And this is just a little section of where stories where NDAs are pivotal and it touches your everyday life. And sometimes you don't even think about it. Like,
So the first one is Facebook. So if you all saw that Facebook movie about who actually came up with the idea of Facebook, that is like the number one example of where he got rich off of creating or supposedly creating Facebook, but there is no real evidence of if he was the one to really come up with that or if it was the other people who he was originally working with. So again, they had no documentation. They were just in a room together, shooting the shit, talking about whatever was going on, and then Facebook came up. And you all know how much Facebook is worth.
all the money. So, 45. You know, he's had a couple issues with NDAs not being signed and a couple of, let's say, I don't really want to call them porn stars because that has a negative connotation, but that's what they are.
I mean,
You know, call a spade a spade.
Come on
I
now.
respect them. You know what I'm saying? But he didn't have them sign the NDA. And they were able, while he was campaigning, while he's president, to come out and say all of this stuff that he was doing, which led into all these investigations of his presidency. So, really, the shitstorm kind of happened with Storm.
Ain't that true? That is so real. Yeah, he definitely missed the mark on that for him to be such a great business person. But neither here nor there. Next thing. So everybody knew about this whole Jordan Woods, Kim Kardashian, or the whole Kardashian clan situation where clearly they have her under an NDA agreement because they do not want any bad press coming out about what they do behind closed doors. And you know they keep it under lock and key. Because think about all the people that have come through, not come through, that sounds really bad, but who have been a part of
They came through, they slid through,
Ooh.
they've been through,
Ooh.
ran through.
I wasn't trying to go that route, but
I know you wasn't. That's why I did it for you.
I mean, thank you, girl. But yeah, so those folks, they were clearly under an NDA agreement when they first got in there. And that literally rolls me into all these celebrities. Any person they talk to, somebody on the street, some girl they mess with just for the night, they are throwing NDAs like it's nothing out here in these streets, okay? Which is why a lot of times you don't hear about most of these stories. This is why we didn't even know who Drake baby mama was. Like,
Listen.
had her little self quiet as I don't know what in Canada. Was she in Canada?
France.
Oh, Lord. Oh, well, yeah.
Right. Okay, so Queen B. Queen B dropped a whole album on y'all, and no one knew.
You said a whole? You mean
Whole.
a few whole albums?
You're
This
right.
ain't the first time.
You're right. You're right.
Oh, okay.
A couple.
Okay.
So, you know, she is just the queen of NDAs. Like, everybody in her camp, anybody who touches her essence
Listen.
is signing an NDA. If you are breathing the same air that she breathes, you signed an NDA before you even got to inhale your first inhale.
Listen. People going to the parties. But I feel like she might have missed Tiffany Haddish at one time because she started talking.
You know, I just feel like Tiffany forgot. And that's why
Did
she
she
tried
get
to
sued?
backtrack.
Right.
She didn't get sued.
Okay.
But she had to. I feel like there's a couple apologies and some things that happened.
Yeah. Because that's the
A
only
couple
person I know.
puff pass powwows before Beyonce was like, I'll let you slide on this.
Yeah, because I was surprised. That's the first person I ever heard really come out talking about what's going on in that party that Beyonce was at or that she threw.
You're right.
That's crazy. But yeah, so these are the different stories. Again, there's so much more out there. Every time you see, especially anything in pop culture, with people coming out talking about what people are doing behind closed doors, you always have to wonder, was there an NDA? And think about it. If there was an NDA and they went out here talking about all these things, they are getting sued
Sued,
off the quickness.
money, racks,
Come
out
on.
of pocket.
And then cease and desist. Do not go out there saying this anymore.
Right.
There you are.
And if you made any money off of this, run all of it.
Back.
All of it.
So all these examples show you why it's so important to protect your idea and God-given creativity to ensure you won't have to chase people down to prove that the content was originally yours.
Yes. That's what happened to Old Girl with the Matrix. We are all in a time of secure your bag, and in order to do so, you must protect yourself and your genius.
Come on now.
We love and appreciate you for tuning into another episode of
Entrepreneur Bind and Grind.
To get more information on ways you can protect yourself using NDAs.
Remember, we are friends in your head, not your attorney.
Check out our website at 28media.com.
And follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at 28media. Number 2 spelled out 8, add media.
Don't forget to subscribe, share, rate, and like this episode if we've just taken your grind to the next level. Until next time, keep grinding.
This episode has been brought to you by 28 Media, executively produced by Christine Rose and Reba J. Theme music and recording by Creative Villains, and sound engineering by Kurt.